Plami, and in this episode of Plami's Talk Zone, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the recent news about Doctor Who's previous showrunner, Russell T Davies, coming back to run the show again. But before we get into that, I want to quickly kind of set up how I feel about Doctor Who at this point in time. Because I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who. I started watching it when I was like around 10 years old, and I fell in love with it almost instantly. I started watching during the Russell T Davies era, the original one, with the David Tennant seasons. I think it was season 3 that I actually started watching through. So I loved it. Afterwards, I ended up watching the Moffat era as well, and I got to be an even bigger fan of the show. For me, right now, the first 10 seasons of New Who are a masterpiece. I love them through and through. They're amazing. But the show ends with Twice Upon a Time for me. And that is because anything afterwards just hasn't felt like Doctor Who for me. It doesn't feel canon. I just don't like it. And I'll explain to you why. I know it's not like an uncommon opinion nowadays to shit on the Chibnall era, because it is goddamn bad. But at the time when it was first starting, I was open to it actually. I'm a huge Moffat fan. For me, he's the best showrunner of the show, but I wasn't necessarily against having a new showrunner. I wasn't as hype as I was for Moffat being the showrunner, but I was fine with it, and I was even fine with a female doctor. I was excited about it because for those of you who don't know, who are probably most of you getting into this video, I'm actually trans. I just am unable to transition at this point in time. And around the time when Jodie Whittaker was announced as the first female doctor, is when I realized that I was actually trans. So at the time, I was super hyped to see my favorite TV character transitioning to being female as well. Although nowadays I've realized that I'm more of a non-binary, although with very heavy female leanings as well, still. So I was excited about it, and I was open. I got into Series 11 with an open mind, hoping that it's going to be good. And the first episode was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. Like, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. It had a feeling that reminded me of a cool movie from my childhood that I watched called... it's the Ben 10 live action movie. Just search it up. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like the teen Ben 10 live action movie. For some reason, this episode had a very similar tone to that. So I was actually pretty okay with it, but it obviously had a lot of glaring issues compared to what we had just went through with last Moffat season. But I was open to it, but very quickly it showed how bad it is. I don't want to make this video into a complete review of Series 11. I'm gonna do that at some point in the future. Maybe sooner rather than later, if you guys show that you want to see a review of mine for those seasons. But it's safe to say I very quickly started to not like and not enjoy the seasons. And it's gonna take me way too long to explain why I hate Series 11 and even Series 12, which I again gave it a chance. I tried watching Series 12. It seemed better, but it still was bad compared to the Moffat seasons. And honestly, at this point, that's part of the reason why I just don't know if I care enough about RTD becoming showrunner again. Because even if it's better, I don't know if I'm invested in the show anymore. Especially after the shitty twist that Chibnall introduced with the shitty Timeless Child. I hate it. I despise it. For me, it ruins the show. And it does. I honestly am not willing to discuss why anybody who says otherwise is wrong. You just are. I know that might be a little bit of a toxic opinion, but I refuse to accept in any way, shape, or form the Timeless Child being the Doctor as a good thing. There's no way in hell this can be a good thing. For me, it ruins the character because now the Doctor is not just an average Time Lord who decided to go against typical Time Lord norms and became the legend that they are. No, he's now Time Lord Jesus, essentially. And I don't like that. I don't like that. It's unnecessary, and for all the arguments that it brings the Who in Doctor Who, it fucking doesn't. It actually kind of reveals more about the Doctor, because now we know when the question about Doctor Who is asked, it's the Timeless Child, Space fucking Jesus. I don't get it why it was necessary for this shitty twist to be introduced. And you know what the worst thing is? The twist has actually a version of it that is pretty good, that I actually wouldn't have minded being a thing. And you know what that is? The Timeless Child being its own character. Not the Doctor, not the Master, but its own character. Because that way, you don't ruin 59 years of fucking Doctor Who canon and established characters and what they are with their established backstories and fans' established relationship with those characters, but you still kind of shake up the status quo, because with the Timeless Child being its own character, you can still have the Time Lords tormenting a child and exploiting it for their own benefit be a thing, because that is like a big thing about the reveal. And you can still have that affect the Doctor and the Master, because now for the Master, what he thought was his birthright is not his birthright, because it wasn't originally Time Lord's ability to regenerate. And for the Doctor, it can actually add question about whether it's morally right to continue using the power of regeneration going forward if it was gotten through immoral means. And then you can even have a season in which the Doctor looks for the Timeless Child and tries to find what happened to them and help them and save them. That could even lead us to find exactly where the Timeless Child came from, but no, we just have a shitty reveal that the Doctor is the Timeless Child, now there's Space Jesus, and now there can be any type of incarnations that you can think of, both from the past and from the future of the Doctor's timeline. And to me, that's stupid, and it ruins my investment in the show. I'm sorry. And I'm telling you all this because Russell T Davies loves the twist. From what I've seen people tell me, and from what I've read about his opinions on it, and in some of the novelizations that he has done for some Doctor Who episodes, he loves it. He's embraced it. And I'm just simply not okay with that. That is like one of the things that I feel most emotional about the RTD incoming RTD era .2, because I want the Timeless Child either to be completely retconned, or at least to be retconned for the Timeless Child to not be the Doctor, because I fucking hate it. And again, I'm getting back to the Timeless Child specifically, but the thing that pisses me off about the Timeless Child, the stupid retcon, is that it doesn't even matter. Because going forward, the show even went out of its way to say that it's not gonna change anything about the character going forward. So why the fuck do it? Why? Just to ruin it. Just to leave your mark on the show. Or maybe for some reason that I don't necessarily want to get into, because people are going to call me a reactionary right-wing, even though I'm a super progressive person, but that is the most obvious reasons one can latch onto about why they decided to do the shitty twist. But I'm pretty sure you can think of very much why, what I'm talking about why they did the shitty Timeless Child twist. Why they had to do it. So yeah, I'm just simply not okay with that. And like, even if RTD is good, ultimately I'll still have to wait and see how his era is going to be like, whether it's going to be genuinely better or not, how different it's going to be from his original era. I'll still check it out, most likely. But I don't know if I just care enough to keep watching and consider myself a Doctor Who fan. I don't know if I want to invest myself into the show going forward. I don't know if I will be able to invest myself into the show going forward with all these shitty twists and everything. It depends on maybe what RTD tries to do about it, because after all, the Time War, probably the best addition to Doctor Who canon, was his idea. So maybe he might be able to make something good out of the Timeless Child. But with the novelizations, I don't think that's gonna be good. I don't think he will manage to do it good. At best, he's probably gonna ignore it, but I don't know. It's gonna be very weird. If he goes the ignore it way, in the ignore it direction, I feel like it's gonna be very weird, because he's gonna make the show be supposedly still the same, but it's not gonna feel the same, because we have this shitty retcon in our minds clouding everything that we thought about the show before. And again, I don't even know whether I'll be okay and invested in the show even if they do retcon it, so maybe this is just the end of my love for Doctor Who. I don't know. I still love the first 10 seasons. I love them. Everything about them. And I'm going to be doing reviews of those 10 seasons in the future. If you want to see that sooner rather than later, comment down below, like the video so I know there is a demand for it, but yeah. That's kind of where I stand on this. I don't doubt that the RTD 2.0 era is probably going to be better in terms of the quality. But I don't know if that's enough for me to keep watch. At the very least, I'm happy that he is going to be handling the 60th anniversary, because, I mean, it's an important thing. It's probably going to be including multiple doctors, and Chibnall handling that would have been the worst thing ever. RTD, I trust that he's going to do well with that. But we still have no idea exactly what that's going to be like, and it's still a little while until we get to there, so yeah, I don't know. But at least for that, I'm okay with RTD doing that. Especially because we had Moffat doing the 50th anniversary, and it's cool that the other beloved showrunner of New Who also gets to do a big anniversary episode like that. Because I'm curious to see and compare the anniversary difference between the anniversary episodes between RTD and Moffat. That's gonna be cool. But I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Doctor Who going forward. Again, ultimately, I'll wait and see, just like I did for Series 10. But yeah, I don't know. And this is also not including the fact that we don't know whether the person who creates the soundtrack for Doctor Who, Segan Akinoa, who is the current composer, whether he's going to stay or leave with Chibnall and Jodie. Because if he stays, and he doesn't completely change the way he makes his music and his composing, I don't think the show's gonna be that much better. Because whether people like it or not, the bombastic Murray Gold tracks are a big part of Doctor Who's identity. Even though there was like 26 seasons of the show before Murray Gold became a composer, for me, Murray Gold is as integral to the show as anything else. As the character of the Doctor, as it was before the Timeless Child. He made the show. His tracks are so good, and I replay them all the fucking time, and they're so goddamn good. No other show for me has that level of entertaining soundtrack. Some have some, but Doctor Who is the only one who has that good of a soundtrack. And Segan Akinoa is just fucking garbage. I'm sorry, he's garbage. If you like him, that's fine, knock yourself out. In my opinion, he's garbage. He's completely unfit for Doctor Who, and he just doesn't know how to compose for it. I'm sorry. Most of the soundtrack is just background music. It's not, there's no character themes that are good, and there's literally like only one emotional sting that you hear in every sad moment. Like, at least with Murray Gold, whenever there was a sad moment, usually there was a genuinely emotional track specifically created for that sad moment. But now with Segan Akinoa, it's just the exact same background, somewhat emotional twang that you hear. just doesn't work. It's not what Doctor Who is. I'm all for different sounding soundtrack, but not like fucking this. Like, I'm not asking for Murray Gold to come back with Russell T Davies. That's not what I'm asking for, even though I would be happy with that. But I'm asking at least for another composer who has as much of a vision and identity and quality as Murray Gold. Not somebody who just does reverbed farts for the background music. Just doesn't work. There's only one track or piece of a track from Sega Nakinowa that I've liked, and that is the track that plays in I think it was it the Revolution of the Daleks, like the most recent Christmas special with Jack coming back. There's that one track which plays when Jack and the Doctor are escaping the cells. That track is good, but it's only the part that is from when Jack shows up to until they escape that is good. The rest of it, I don't care about it. And I don't know, maybe with under Russell T Davies, he's gonna force Sega Nakinowa to be better in some way, shape, or form. Although I think it's more likely for them they're gonna hire a new producer, but I don't know, we'll see. I mean, new composer. But yeah, I don't know, there's just a lot of uncertainty right now. I'm overall positive on the news. And by the way, I couldn't believe it at first when I read that news. I was seriously fucking tripping. I felt like I was tripping. It felt as unbelievable as getting to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. As Eric from Blindwave said, it feels like I traveled to a parallel universe in which this is happening. Like, it's so fucking unbelievable. It's still kind of unbelievable. Like, who would have thought that was gonna happen? Imagine 10 years from now, Moffat decides to come back for another go. That would be awesome, but just as unbelievable. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, all I've covered. I'm overall positive, but I just don't know whether I give a shit about the show anymore. We're gonna have to wait and see, I guess. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, as I usually do, but I don't know. I just don't know. I'm curious whether there's other people in my situation, with the same opinion about this. If there are, comment down below. I'll really be happy to talk more about this. But yeah, before we end this video, I want to give a huge shout out to my currently one and only patron on Patreon, Omari Bridgman. If you want to join that person in supporting me, you can do that by going down in the description below and clicking on the link to my Patreon, where you can support me for more long-term stuff, and you get some perks and benefits which you can check out yourself. Or you can go through my Ko-fi account, which is also linked in the description. And for those of you who don't know what Ko-fi is, it's very similar to Patreon in the sense that you get to support your favorite creators. But while Patreon is more focused on long-term support and giving your supporters perks and everything and benefits, Ko-fi is more for like one-time donation kind of thing. It still has the option for perks and benefits, and if you guys are more able to support me through Ko-fi rather than Patreon, make sure to contact me so I can start setting up the perks and benefits on Ko-fi as well. But right now, since nobody really, there's only been one person who has supported me through Ko-fi, I don't really feel the need to do that, so make sure to contact me about that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon and Ko-fi, as I just said, where you can pledge your support and help keep the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. You'll also be supporting me in my transition, because as I mentioned earlier, I'm actually trans, and I want to transition in the future, but currently I cannot do that because I don't have the money to do it, and my situation is very complicated. But if you don't want to support me monetarily, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!